First off, thank you guys for joining me here today. I hope your new year is starting off fantastic. And today we're going to talk about motivating your buyer. We're in an interesting time period right now. We have seen interest rates drop down from their peak levels, which, has been a good thing, stimulating the market a little bit. But, we still have tight inventory out there, and it is the winter months in a lot of places. So naturally, the market slows down a little bit. But, let's talk about how we can go ahead and motivate your buyer coming into this new year. And real estate agents joining us here today, listen, all of these tools and features that we're going to go through here today, the lender that invited you here today, they have access to create all of these for you. So if there's one as we're going through that you would like to co-brand with the lender that invited you here today, please, by all means, reach out to them and they can get that piece created for you. So the first piece that we're going to walk over here is the real estate report card. And honestly, this one is great for any market that we're in because the purpose of the real estate report card is to show the health of the housing market with where the client's looking to purchase. So the first thing that we're going to share with the client is we're going to share some key insights. And here we put in the zip code, but if the client had a specific home, you could just send the lender over that listing number. We can also do it by county as well. So here we are for the zip code, and we are in New Jersey here. It's going to show us the median price and the average days on market. And then we're going to share with the client the forecasted appreciation for that home. So that home starting out at $547,000, what would it look like due to appreciation as the years kind of continue here? And we'll also share with them the historical rate of appreciation as well. And then we're going to showcase the supply and demographics. So these are the homes being built. This is in Middlesex County here. And then we're going to showcase the listings, and it will showcase by zip code, and it will also share for the county as well, showing us, the total amount and what's its movement month to month and year to year. Then we're going to break down demographics by age. So this can be great because this can also help us kind of hone in on what is our largest target audience in this area. And in New Jersey here, it looks like the largest target audience is ages 45 to 54, followed by first-time homebuyers, ages 27 to 35. Now, what about homeowners versus renters? Well, this is going to break it down for us in this area. There's 556,000 individuals that own a home, and there's 313,000 of them that are currently renters. But of that 313,000, there's actually about 79,000 of them that are currently renting but could afford to purchase. So said another way, this is essentially our target audience, the people we want to be talking to. Now, what about the affordability, right? That is a hot topic right now. Well, the median household income in this area is around $82,000, which is higher than the national average of around $74,000. Then we're going to showcase the affordability index. So how affordable is it to purchase a home in this area? Well, naturally, as we can all likely agree, affordability has gotten less affordable. But in this area, it comes in around 71. Now, a household earning the median income, a level of 100 here, that would mean that the household earning the median income could afford the median home price with 20% down. So relatively speaking, it is affordable in this area to purchase a home. Now you'll notice that all of these pieces can be co-branded, and while we are showcasing this one in English, just so you know, the lender that invited you here today, they can also export these in Spanish as well. So again, this is the real estate report card. This is a great piece for any new client that you get. And this is also a great piece to bring to an open house because at the end of the day, who doesn't want to know the health of the housing market with where they're looking to purchase? Now, the next tool that you can ask your lender for is, comps. How many of you actually enjoy going out there and doing the research to pull comps? Well, now all you have to do is reach out to the lender that invited you here today and ask for what is called the MB estimate. This is our own AVM tool. So ultimately what this is going to do is it's going to highlight the area here. So you'll send them over that listing number. And then it's going to give us different stats. So it is going to share with us recent sales in the area, right? It's going to pull in all those comps for us. And it's also going to give us a local market snapshot. What is the price range in this area? What about the median single family sales price? What about the median cost per square foot? And, how many properties have recently been sold in this area? Again, all these pieces can be co-branded. And agents, if you have any open houses coming up, be sure to reach out to your lender and ask for our open house flyer. Now, this is just one of the different flyer options. We have multiple different templates, but it's automatically going to pull in the images from that listing. So if you just send them over that MLS, it will pull them in. And again, you guys can co-brand on these. And what I love about this is our second page. We are the only ones that do this, but it is going to pull in different loan options, and the lender that invited you here today can customize these as well, depending on what that client is looking for. But this piece right here is probably one of my favorites. It pulls in our cost of waiting analysis. So for any client that is maybe thinking about delaying their purchase, maybe they think rates are going to drop, whatever the case may be, this will share with the client, listen, the longer that you wait, the more that property value is going to appreciate, meaning the longer you wait, the higher the loan amount's going to be, the higher the down payment's going to be. And they can actually get in here and change this to, whatever the client is thinking, and it will give them the cost of waiting if they were to delay their purchase. We'll also pull in a buying power piece here to share with the client, hey, if rates actually increase, well, now you can afford less of a home. And then we're going to share with them the appreciation gain based off of forecasted rates of appreciation and historical, to share with them how that is going to evolve over time. And then if you would like, you can also add a third page to our open house flyer. And this one's fun. It's going to show the different school systems. Again, your lender can customize this. So maybe the people coming to the open house only have kids in high school. Whatever the case may be, this can be customized to showcase 3 different schools. It's going to show us how far away we are from those schools and the student to teacher ratio. And then we're going to showcase destinations. Again, these can be customized depending upon the target audience. Maybe it's a millennial that really enjoys museum and music. Well, these can be tailored, but it's going to showcase different areas. And the client, when you share these, they can actually click on these and they'll get live directions to those areas. And then we're going to highlight restaurants within so many miles broken down into types. Now, this misconception is an important one for us to understand. I oftentimes think that, being in the industry, sometimes we've learned so much that we forget basic knowledge here and basic beliefs that our clients often have. And according to an NAR survey, it showed that 11% of first-time buyers, only 11%, know that they can buy a home with 5% down. Team, that means that 45% of those surveyed believe that they need 20% down in order to purchase a home. Listen, I know that the market can be tight right now and it's competitive due to the fact that we have tight inventory, but I think that this is a really important stat for us to understand, whether it's getting out there and creating social media content or just talking and discussing with our potential buyers. They don't know what they don't know. And this really highlights something that we all know and understand, is that at the end of the day, a large portion of our job is simply educating our clients on what they don't know and reshaping their beliefs to the idea that home ownership is possible. So what do we do for those clients that are sitting there thinking, you know what, I don't know if I can purchase a home, or at the end of the day, maybe I should keep renting, or maybe I should look at purchasing. I don't know what one is better. And if you have a client that's asking that, that is when you are going to want to reach out to the lender that invited you here today and ask for the buy versus rent scenario. So let's play this out. Let's say that the client is thinking about purchasing a $500,000 home. They're going to put 10% down. That'll make the loan amount $450,000. Now the 30-year fixed rate, let's say, is 6.5. They're expected to be in that home for 9 years. And let's plug in things like the annual property tax increase, repair costs, right? All these things that you have to do when you own a home versus rent it. And let's also add in that cost to sell, right? Agents, at the end of the day, if they're going to move out of that home, well, this is how you're going to get paid, right? And we're going to plug in the 63-year historical average appreciation in this area that we're looking at is 4.65%. Now, a comparable monthly rent in this area would be $4,000 a month, but they're getting a discount, $3,700 a month. We also know that the year-over-year rental increase in this local market is 4%. So rents are going up 4% on an annual basis. So I ask you, is it better to buy or is it better to rent? And how much better is it? Can you answer that question? And if you can't, again, this is when we want to be using this tool, because at the end of the day, we are the trusted professionals. So this tool is going to break it down for us. And we all know, right? At the end of the day, this is what the client looks at initially. And they're saying, oh, you know what? I can save hundreds of dollars a month renting versus purchasing. Well, initially that might be true, Mr. and Mrs. Client, but listen, in our area, rents are going up 4% on an annual basis. And we can share with them very visually that by year 4, on a monthly cash flow basis, they're going to end up spending more to rent versus purchase that home. And we can share with them how that's going to evolve over the 9 years that they're thinking about living in this home. And then we really pointed out to them, hey, on a cash flow difference, you'd actually be better off purchasing a home versus renting by a little over $30,000, Mr. and Mrs. Client. And that's just the beginning. You know, you could expect to gain equity through amortization, right? That's $59,000. And then there's appreciation as well, and that's $252,000. Now we also have to include in some other things, right? The cost to sell, that full 6% commission at the end of the 9 years when they're thinking about selling that home. That's going to be a negative $45,000. And then there's a tax benefit, right, to purchasing a home. So when we take all of this into account, we can share with the client very visually, listen, you'd be a little over $300,000 better off purchasing over renting. Now, here's the thing, and I love this aspect of this tool, is we can have an honest conversation. We don't have to be salesy. We can share with them, hey, if you're thinking about living in that home a year or longer, by all means, keep renting. That makes sense for you. But if you're thinking about living in that home 2 years or longer, well, it is going to benefit you to take a look at purchasing over renting. And we do have a question. Is there something you suggest to use if someone is not paying rent to show that it makes good sense to buy? At that point in time, what I would share with them is I would share with them maybe our appreciation calculator, you know, to kind of share with the client how that home is going to appreciate over time and share with them the opportunity that exists in that scenario. And my Wi-Fi seems to be a little slow here right now. But here's what I would share with them in that instance, to kind of just share with them, you know, the evolution of wealth opportunity that exists in purchasing that home. So sharing with them how that appreciation is going to evolve over time, what that means for them, you know, and their percent return on their investment as well. So I would definitely share that tool if they are not currently paying rent. But the nice thing about the buy versus rent scenario as well is your lender can get in and play out whatever scenario is going on for that client. And here is that buy versus rent scenario in the PDF format. So there's multiple different ways that the lender can share this piece with you, whether it's in PDF format, as I mentioned, in either English or Spanish. They can also share it as a link as well. And you know that I love the links because the lender actually gets notified when they're open and viewing it. And so it can be a great way for your lender to stay engaged in the process and be able to follow up and answer those questions for the client as well, and build trust with that client, and you know, ultimately move them from a potential buyer to a closed buyer. Now, how many of your clients and how many of you actually out there want to increase your net worth, right? We all do at the end of the day. But do we know what it means if we wanted to make it to the top 1%? Well, if we wanted to make it to the top 1%, we would need 10.8 million. What about the top 2%? 2.5 million. What about the top 5%? 1 million. Top 10%, listen, this is good. Top 10%, we would need 800,000. And what about the top 50%? Well, 500,000. But you know what they don't tell you in this? Is that on average, 2/3 of net worth comes from home equity. Team, this is such a powerful stat to share with your clients. And get this, the average homeowner net worth is 40x of a renter's net worth. This is a great stat to, again, share with our clients and empower them in the financial opportunity that exists through real estate. Now, there's a lot of talk out there about rates coming down, and we've seen rates come down a little bit, right? But there's a lot of talk out there. How much are rates going to come down in 2023? And if you have a client that is saying, you know what, I think rates are going to come down even further, I am going to wait to purchase when rates come down. Well, should they wait? Does it make sense for them to wait? If you have a client that is wanting to wait for any particular reason, maybe inventory is tight, they want to wait for more inventory to hit the market, they think rates are going to drop, whatever the case may be, that is when you want to reach out to your lender and ask for this cost of waiting analysis. This is going to motivate that buyer to get off the sidelines and ultimately move forward with purchasing. Because here's the thing, team. We know that at the end of the day, inventory is tight, which means homes are appreciating strongly. So let's play out this scenario. Okay, again, we know homes are appreciating, so we know that property value is going to increase, but this particular client thinks that rates are going to drop a full percentage point in the next 6 months, so they want to wait for that to happen before purchasing. Well, let's break it down. So we're going to share with them the payment difference, and it is true. If rates were to come down, right, they would save on that monthly payment. But let's take that payment difference. Let's multiply that by 6 months because that's how long they're thinking about waiting. And let's also include in this, if they were to purchase today, we could, generally speaking, typically refinance them to get that lower rate. So let's include that cost to refinance in this scenario. And their total cost to buy now versus waiting 6 months is about $5,526. But here's the thing. Mr. and Mrs. Client, by not purchasing today, you're missing out in property appreciation and amortization. So waiting 6 months is actually costing you closer to $25,000. Now let's subtract out that cost to buy now, and the total benefit to buy now is a little over $19,000. Team, this is such a powerful piece to go ahead and share with the client. Let's talk about where the consumer is at right now. The average consumer is struggling a bit. We've seen personal savings rates decline rather dramatically. These little blips that you're seeing were the stimulus, which have long been well spent. And then we have unpaid credit card balances, which are increasing rather exponentially. And interest on those credit cards has gotten a little bit crazy. The average interest on credit cards right now is around 24, 25%. But here's the thing. According to Black Knight, the average tappable equity that someone has right now is around 185,000. So let's use that. And for the client that is out there saying, I want to move into this home. Listen, we're having another kid or whatever the case may be. They're working from home. They want more space, but they're hesitant to do so because they currently have a 3% rate on their mortgage that they currently have. And today's rate is, more than double that. So they're hesitant to do so, but they do want to do it because they want that more space. Well, that's when you're going to want to reach out to your lender for this debt consolidation for our purchase buyer. So let's play out this scenario. They purchased a home 6 years ago for $500,000. The original loan was for $400,000. The estimated home value today, $695,000. Their remaining loan balance, $343,000. Cost to sell, let's say, is going to be $35,000. That means their available equity is $317,000. Now we have to take out closing costs on that new home, which would be $12,000. That means their available down payment would be $305,000. So the purchase price of this larger home that they want to buy is 850,000 minus that 305. That means their loan amount that they'd be looking at is 545,000. But here's the reason that they're hesitant to move forward. That's a monthly payment increase of 2,500 a month, and they're reluctant already to give up that 3% mortgage rate that they keep bragging about. But here's the thing. They have debt. So let's utilize that and make this less of a payment shock, right? So what your lender can do is they can use the blended rate calculator on MBS Highway to share with them, okay, while you might have a 3% rate on your current mortgage, let's take into account all the debt that you have. And when we do that, they don't have a 3% rate. Their blended rate is around 6.3%. So let's do a different tactic here. Let's increase that loan amount, pay off their debt. So we're going to consolidate that debt, and it's not going to cost them $2,500 more a month to move into that home that they already want to move into. It's going to cost them about $300 more a month. This is such a powerful way to help show them and help them make a decision on, again, something that they already want to do. Now, what about bidding over asking price? This is happening right now with, the tight inventory that we have going on. And I know it's the winter months, but this is definitely going to continue to uptick as we enter the warmer months, depending on where you're at. And here's the thing. If a client, wants to buy a home, anyone really, think about yourself. If you want to buy a home and saying, okay, well, it's competitive out there, you got to come in above asking price if you think you're going to win this home. And this is only going to get worse again as the summer months heat up. But the client, they're thinking, okay, if I have to come in $20,000, $30,000 above asking price, to me, that makes me feel like I am in the red on this investment. So as someone that is potentially looking to purchase a home, I want to know, is it worth it? And at what point does it not make sense? That's when you want to ask for this bid over asking price tool. So let's say the estimated current value of the home is $630,000. Now the asking price is coming right in around there, $630,000. Now to make their offer more competitive, they're thinking about coming in $15,000 above asking price, making that total bid $645,000. Well, based off of forecasted appreciation, they would break even coming in $15,000 above asking price in 4.9 months. Listen, it's going to take a little while to close. By the time they move in there and get settled, they're already breaking even on this investment. But then we want to share with them even more the opportunity that exists here. So we're going to share with them based off of appreciation, what is the opportunity that exists in purchasing this home? And we'll give it to them in graphical format as well, because who doesn't like graphs? Team, these are some powerful pieces to go ahead and share with your client. I want to showcase just a few more. And then for the lenders that are on here, I want to make sure that you know how to invite your referral partners that you invited here today. So let's go ahead. I want to share with you one tool that I think is really powerful as well. It's our marketing kit. So we just talked about how inventory is tight, and naturally when inventory is tight, it can take a little bit longer for that client to find a home that matches all of their needs. And so agents, my question to you is, how are you keeping them engaged during that home buying process? And I got to be honest with you, agents, my own personal experience of buying a home, the only automated kind of marketing that I was receiving during that initial process was, here's my new listings. And the agent that I was working with, her average list price was $1.5 to $3 million. And every time I'd get these emails, I'd say, oh man, that's how I want to live. That's always how I imagined myself living. Well, we want to make sure that we're not deterring our clients, because again, they don't know what they don't know. Right? They don't know the opportunity that exists in real estate and the wealth that they can generate. And so we want to make sure that we're marketing to them during that critical time in the way that they actually purchase a home, which is through the financial opportunity. And we'll see here if here we go. So I'm going to walk you through the different pieces. And again, your lender can set this up to go out on different cadences, whether, it's a client that they want to move by an exact certain time and maybe you want to hit them every couple days. Whereas maybe it's a first-time home buyer, they're like, I don't know, but I'm kind of curious. So maybe you want to hit them every 30 days. Well, the first piece that's going to go out is going to be, again, that real estate report card showing the health of the housing market with where they're looking to purchase. The next piece is going to be the appreciation piece, sharing with them how that home price is going to evolve over time and how it can help them achieve wealth through real estate. The next piece is going to be that cost of waiting analysis, that buy versus rent scenario. Now, this one I love because there's a lot of talk about a recession. And I know the Fed took recession off the table, but listen, we're still seeing a lot of recessionary indicators out there. And, depending on when the Fed decides to, start doing quantitative easing and start cutting the Fed funds rate, depending on if they take too long or whatever the case may be, it could, push us even more so into a recessionary time period. And oftentimes people have this belief that purchasing a home during a recession is a bad thing to do. And we can't blame them because any belief that we have is based off of our past experience. And oftentimes when people have this belief, it's because they remember the housing crash of 06 to 09, where we did see home prices come down dramatically, right? And people lost a lot of money. But is that normally what happens in a recession? And in order to change people's beliefs, we have to show them data, right? We have to show them what has actually happened historically. And so what you're looking at right here is these gray bars represent the past recessions. And this blue line is home prices according to Case-Shiller, which is like the gold standard report for showing us home appreciation. And when we look at this historically, well, home prices have actually done pretty well during every single recession. They either stayed pretty stagnant or they went up a little bit. And mostly all of them, home prices went up rather exponentially after the recession. Again, the only time that wasn't the case was the housing bubble, the housing crash of 06 to 09. And here's the thing. It was a completely different scenario back then. One, it was the housing crash that led us into the recession, not the other way around. But at this point in time in history, we had builders putting more homes on the market than at any other point in history, yet we didn't have the demand. So basic law of supply and demand. If you have a lot of supply and not a lot of demand, what has to happen to home prices? Well, they have to come down. But that is not the case in today's marketplace, which we're going to share with them on the next page. So what you're looking at here is each bar represents the number of births per year dating back to 1928. So you'll see we have the different generations, baby boomers, Generation X, millennials, and according to Zillow, the average age of a first-time home buyer today is 33 years of age. So if we scoop up all the 33-year-olds today and we go back 33 years, they land right here on the chart. And we're going to stay at these high levels of about 4 million births per year for a while. But again, if we go back and we look at the housing crash, so let's take the average age of a first-time home buyer in 2006, 33 years of age, go back 33 years, those 33-year-olds in 2006 land right here on the chart. And you'll notice that the number of births declined. Meanwhile, again, we had builders putting more homes on the market than at any other point in history. So again, of course, home prices had to come down. And this last piece kind of ties it all together with supply and demand. There's two bars for each year dating back to 2004. The blue bar represents household formations. What's a household formation? Well, that's a kid that says, you know what, I'm sick of mom and dad. I got to get my own place. One family, two roofs over their head. Whereas this orange bar represents builders putting homes on the market. And you'll notice that demand has outweighed supply for a while now. But again, if we go back to the time period of the housing crash, it was a completely different scenario. So not something that they have to worry about. And the last piece that we're going to share with them is we're going to share with them how amortization works. And if they put more money into their mortgage, they could generate extra savings. Now, the last thing that I want to share with you all is I want to share with you how to invite your referral partners here today so that you guys can start co-branding on everything here within MBS Hwy. So you're going to go to the home page, lenders, and what you are going to do is you are going to scroll down here to Client Manager and click View. From here, you are going to click on Realtors, and there's a few different options here. You can add them manually or you can invite them. Now, important thing to note here, since you guys are marketing together, we do want to be RESPA compliant. So in order to be RESPA compliant, agents, this is going to cost you $20 per year. This gets you unlimited amounts of co-branded pieces. Again, it's to be RESPA compliant. So lenders, what I recommend is that you hit invite here. You're going to go ahead, you are going to enter in the agent's name and email address. And if anyone needs to reach out to me or has further questions, you can reach me at Megan, MEGAN, at mbshighway.com. Once you've done that, you're going to click next. It'll say an invitation has been prepared and you're going to hit send. Then realtors, what's going to happen is you're going to get an email that says so-and-so wants to start co-branding with you. Click here to learn more. And what the great thing about inviting your referral partners, lenders, is that agents, you're going to get access to what is called MBS Hwy Realtor Portal. And within that portal, you can request the various pieces that we went over today. Now, agents, you will not be able to create these pieces on your own, but you will be able to fill out the information needed and send a request to your lender so that they can generate and get you over that piece. And that's nice so that you guys aren't constantly, playing phone tag back and forth, trying to get these various pieces created. And with that, I'm going to see if there's, is this the item, the realtor? So the $20 RESPA compliancy fee will get agents access to as many pieces as co-branded pieces as you would like. Again, it's just to be RESPA compliant, but it gets them access to all of the pieces that we went over today, as many pieces as you want and as many pieces as they need. Again, it's to be RESPA compliant. We are over time, so if you guys do have further questions, please feel free to reach out to me, Megan, MEGAN, at mbshighway.com. And with